It's a practice as old as the motor car. Buy a beaten-up vehicle that's either just been unloved or involved in an accident at a massively reduced price, buy the replacement parts you need, and then, with a little hard work and skill, rebuild your wreck into a daily driver or something that you can sell on for a profit. Depending on where you live, the process of rebuilding a vehicle, something usually resulting in some form of salvage title for the vehicle, can vary from being reasonably easy to extremely complicated or even impossible. But where it is allowed and significant checks are carried out on the vehicle in question to ensure that it's been repaired to a high enough standard, it can be a great way of getting a more expensive vehicle than you might usually pay at a dealership, provided you're willing to put in some hard graft to get it. In most countries, there are different categories of salvaged vehicle. The more highly damaged the car, the harder it is to re-register it for road use, and in some cases, like the UK for example, a car can be deemed so damaged that it's not just uneconomical to repair, but actually impossible to put back on the road. And while you should probably think twice about rebuilding a car that's been involved in a really nasty accident, especially where the frame of the vehicle has taken some kind of impact, vehicles are often written off by insurance companies simply because repairing them would take too much money and time, or parts are not readily available at the time of the claim. And given that garages, especially specialist ones, often charge incredibly high rates per hour for repair, the labour is often the real reason that the cars are written off, not the actual cost or availability of parts. Today, people are rebuilding salvaged electric cars, using parts from various sources to couple together the parts from many different vehicles to end up with one complete restored car. And while automakers are likely to charge a lot for new parts, most automakers and dealerships will quite happily work on a rebuilt car, provided the vehicle's repairs are of a high enough standard and are in line with official repair techniques. But Tesla is different. In addition to making it really difficult for anyone outside the company to get spare parts in order to work on their cars at home, it won't work on any salvage title cars rebuilt by enthusiasts unless they pay a large recertification fee. That fee, $2,500 is non-refundable and only pays for the inspection that Tesla carries out to check that the vehicle still meets its standards. If the vehicle fails, you've lost that fee and you'll have your car blacklisted by Tesla, unless it already has been. And if Tesla says your car can be recertified, it's often with the rider that you pay Tesla out of pocket to replace whatever parts its engineers deem necessary to bring it back to original spec. And that can lead you to a 5-figure repair fee on top of whatever you've already paid to work on the car yourself. If you watch the Rich Rebuilds YouTube channel, formerly Car Guru, you'll know that Rich is one of the successful few who's purchased a damaged salvage Tesla, rebuilt it from the ground up and had it recertified in his home state for use on the road, but not by Tesla. You'll also know that his car doesn't appear to have been blacklisted, and both the Tesla app and supercharging still work just fine on his rebuilt ride. But last week, he heard from a fellow salvage owner who had rebuilt their car and got it back on the road, complete with all of the usual supercharging and over-the-air update privileges, only for it all to go wrong when they took their car to the local Tesla service centre to get some warranty work done. Telling the owner that the car was unsupported due to its status, Tesla initially tried to charge the owner for the warranty, later rescinding that after an appeal. Shortly afterwards, however, the car's navigation system stopped updating with charging station information and then refused to work on a supercharger, while the owner was on a road trip with their children. And they were more than 6 hours from home. In response, Tesla said that the customer would need to pay to have their car recertified, something that the owner didn't want to do without knowing how much it would ultimately cost, and it left them with a car that was miles away from home and that could only charge using level 2 public charging stations. As Rich states in his video on the subject from last week, it appears various features were disabled on the car after it had gone to the service centre for work, with the disabling happening without the owner's knowledge. And that leads to a whole series of questions as to who really owns the car and the hardware and the software inside of it, and what the rights of an automaker have to do things with a customer's car without their permission. I'm no lawyer, nor do I profess to be, but I can see both sides of the argument here for and against Tesla behaving this way, as it has done with other cars in similar situations. On one hand, Tesla is acting just like any computer or gadget manufacturer would if you had repaired a device yourself after it had been rendered inoperable. Of course, right to repair laws in the US now make it harder for that kind of response to exist, since the law now supports customers making their own repairs. But that does mean that people should be able to use salvaged Teslas and rebuild them, just as non-salvaged Teslas are used every day. And as an owner, someone who's purchased a product for use, I'd like to think that as long as I've paid the money and taken ownership of something, it's mine to do with what I wish. And if that includes repairing it, why should I be prevented from doing so if I've already got the skills to repair? But while I disagree with Tesla disabling cars, I can't disagree with the logic behind it. Teslas are expensive cars with a lot of technology inside of them that needs to function perfectly in order for the car to operate properly. And when that technology includes hardware that could make semi-autonomous autopilot operation possible, it's even more important to make sure that everything is properly installed and working according to specification. Additionally, too, as studies have shown, any vehicle that's been involved in an accident is never going to be as strong as a vehicle that has never been involved in an accident, even if it's been repaired to manufacturer's spec. And if that vehicle is then involved in a second accident, the damage to the vehicle that's been repaired will be far greater than the damage to the one which has never before been in a collision. For Tesla then, allowing a salvaged car back on the road puts it at the risk of negative publicity if the vehicle is involved in another accident or if its systems fail as a consequence of improper repair. It's a liability that Tesla just doesn't want to have. That, and it loses control of the repair process and the quality of those repairs if the vehicle is rebuilt by an unauthorized repair place. So for what it's worth, I do support the right to repair, and I think Tesla should support rebuilt cars. And I think it could also handle this situation a little differently, making parts and third-party repairs more affordable and thus ensuring repairs are more regularly carried out to its own specifications. But I'm curious as to what you think. Is Tesla right or wrong to disable cars? And how would you react if it happened to your vehicle? That's it. As always, hit the notification bell to hear the moment a new show is uploaded. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to both this channel and Transport Evolved Take 2, where you'll see a few more behind the scenes type stuffs and hangouts. And of course, if you'd like to keep this channel going, please consider donating by using one of the links below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep evolving.